Yeah, look, good morning to each and everyone. Greetings to the world, as it's August the 7th, the day after a national holiday in Jamaica, the Independence Day. But it was a very good gala. I mean, I was relaxing at home and I was watching it as well. I mean, look, enjoyed it until I fell asleep. But again, the Mason Greenwood, effect, it seems like, it just came out of nowhere again in the early hours on August the 6th about him will be representing, the national team very soon, of his clearance, of his personal issues with his documents and stuff like that. It's finally come true. And I can say, look, I'm over the moon at this moment to see, the story taking another twist, that it's finally here. He will be representing the national team very soon. It's all down to the coaches, and let's see what's going to happen, because look, the president will not just come out and say, hey, it's all down to, Steve McLaren and his, coaching staff to get things over the line, for Mason Greenwood. And again, the technical advisor, the newly appointed technical advisor, I have to say this as well. When he was asked about what is it around Mason Greenwood, he actually gives something similar to what the president has said, Rudolph Speed.
All right, last one for me. Mason Greenwood. What's the latest on him?
My understanding is that he has everything now to play.
Okay, wonderful. So he will be selected. Is it whether he's going to accept the call or not?
Right. I don't know if he's going to play though. But
okay.
Yeah.
All right, my final.
Yeah, so Rudolph Speed, I've said that, I think sometimes, like a little bit over a week ago, on a platform where he was, doing an interview, and he was just asked, a little bit about Mason Greenwood, and that's what he have to say. But again, a lot of reggaeboyz fans will be over the moon of, Mason Greenwood will be coming to the National Stadium very soon, and our next home game will be Trinidad, and that's going to be a bad day in the office. Yes, that's going to be a bad day in the office if the Trinidad game will be his home debut. That will be a bad game in the office for Trinidad and Tobago and Duarte, our team, in the World Cup qualifier, trying to get something out of that game where, the crowd, everyone wants to see a Mason Greenwood, putting on that black, green and gold shirt. And Mason is such a fantastic player. You're going to have that one little person, somewhere in the world that will not be happy with Mason Greenwood putting on that black, green and gold shirt. But look, as I said before, everybody do need a second chance in life, and if Mason need it, welcome to Jamrock. You understand? He's already representing Getafe after the Manchester United situation. Now he's in his second full swing season with Olympique Marseille, and going to that direction about, Olympique Marseille and the transfer, saga that's continue, the Saudi, keep on knocking at the door at the South France team, Marseille. And you will say, look, Marseille will be standing firm, on the Mason Greenwood situation of will he get transferred out of the club, will he stay? And I do think that, Mehdi Benatia, the man that's running the shots, for the CEO at that football club, the man that's helping doing, some of the biggest recruitments, you understand? He said that, look, Mason has nowhere to go. Yeah, he has nowhere to go. And I think I read something around, I think it was like in the Liga, one of the biggest newspaper, one of the biggest outlets, in France that cover sports, that said, look, if they're going to price, Mason Greenwood away from Olympique Marseille, it will be around 150. And I'm going to say this, Marseille better be careful on how they put a price on Mason Greenwood of, if this the price tag that you setting on him, look, the Saudi, they can match anything. We have seen some ridiculous transfer wages and some ridiculous transfer fees and some very average players that they're buying. Look at a story like João Felix, someone who haven't done anything since leaving Benfica in the Portuguese league. And Al Nassr bought him for 50 million with Adzan, for Chelsea. Now Chelsea will be smiling walking to the bank. And I have to say, be careful, Olympique Marseille, and how you set a price tag. But if the right money comes in, it's just going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult, for Olympique Marseille to turn on. But again, when you look at the squad, when you look at the players, coming through the door, at Olympique Marseille, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, someone that who have scored, over 50 plus goals in the last 2 seasons, including that one season at Olympique Marseille before he went off to, Saudi Arabia. And, they're signing some very impressive young young talented players around Europe as well. So, when you look at the squad, they boosted the squad, they beefed up the squad with a lot of depth on the attacking side and a lot of depth in the midfield as well. And the depth of quality it's better than what they had last season. So, Roberto De Zerbi is looking to make a very big push. So, thinking about, letting off Mason Greenwood to another club, I think that's just a bad idea at this moment, because Marseille is up to something this season. Yes, this club, Marseille, they're up to something this season. And look at the Mason Greenwood that came back after, the vacation time is on, turning up for pre-season. Look at the physique of the player body. Look at the fitness of what the player is doing right now in pre-season. He's just hitting them left, right and center. And as I said before, the medical staff at Olympique Marseille, they just couldn't believe of the fitness that Mason Greenwood turned up at the football club in their first day of pre-season. So the player is 100% at that level where he's ready to compete. So looking at it again with the fitness of Mason Greenwood, this player is ready to go. Yet, look, our best players right now at this moment, yes, our best players in our national team, they are not really up to par. Look, Ethan Pinnock, if you start from the back, Ethan Pinnock is one of our leading player in terms of how consistently he's been playing in the Premier League under Thomas Frank, being consistent again in his first couple of years playing for the reggaeboyz team. But that last World Cup was shambles. If you look at it, coming off an injury, not playing for Brentford, and he wasn't up to par, he just wasn't fit, and he's just one of many. And when you look at it, our most probably pivotal player, our most important player in that midfield, Isaac Hayden, a few days ago, like 3, 4, 5 days ago, he just a mutual agreement with Newcastle have terminated his contract, and he's not having a pre-season with any club at this moment. He's just having pre-season with a personal trainer. So you're talking about his fitness level and having that competent pre-season under his belt. It's just not there at this moment. And then when you go shift in the attacking third, look, Leon Bailey is not having the best of time. He still don't know if he will be representing Aston Villa in the next, probably you would say 8 days from now. The Premier League will kicks off next week Friday. So again, Demarai Gray having his fitness issue. The player that they said supposed to be our best number 9 in the selection pool is Mikel Antonio, is still yet without a club, but doing some very good impressive work with West Ham. I have to give West Ham a lot of credit as well to open up the doors same way for Mikel Antonio, so he can continue his recover and continue pre-season with the youth team as well. So our best of the best players are not in the right thick of shape or form, and you can go from the top to all the way down to the bottom of players that they are just not having the best of season. And talking about players are not having the best of pre-season, Bobby Reid have been frozen out. Yeah, Bobby Reid have been frozen out. I heard and I read something around where the player is still nursing an Achilles injury, something that he picked up in the back part of the end of the Premier League season, for Leicester City during their relegation time, in the Premier League. So again, Bobby Reid is frozen out of Cifuentes, the ex-QPR, coach is at the helm at this moment for Leicester. And this manager wants to go young. Look at the players that are already sold, for Leicester City. Ndidi is going to Besiktas, a club that Leon Bailey, have linked with over the last, look a bit over 24 hours ago. And when you look at Danny Ward, another player, that's a goalkeeper, he have left the football club. And again, Connor Coyote, both players have went to the championship club Wrexham. So they're looking to offload the players that's over 30 and with a very, very huge sums of money in terms of salary. So Bobby Reid is not really safe at this moment at Leicester City, and he's yet is yet to play any minutes in pre-season. You know, so the story around Bobby Reid at Leicester City, it's very quiet. It's very quiet. The player can't be found nowhere around Leicester City camp for the pre-season. And I'm just saying, is he still 100% nursing that Achilles injury that he picked up in the back part of the Premier League season, and why he's nowhere to be found around the Leicester scene? But the manager made it clear, like, he's clearing out all the players that, you know, over the age of 30, and he want quick, young, vibrant player that have potential, can do something really well in the championship, and then build from there. You know, so it's a new project. You know, the coach that brought in Bobby Reid, you know, Cooper, it's a new project. There's already 2 managers walk through the door, you know, of Bobby Day Cover Reid, you know, Cooper and Van Nistelrooy. So the man that walked through the door when the club got relegated into the second tier of English football, Cifuentes, the Spaniard, he's going to a different direction. So what's the deal with Bobby Reid? And again, another player, you know, in the camp, you know, Joel Lati for, you know, Coventry. This player is yet to get a minute on pre-season when it comes on to playing on the pitch during pre-season. Look, Frank Lampard have done, you know, an interview where he's talking about, look, he have left, you know, Joel Lati out of the squad because of some minor setback, you know, some minor injuries, and the player with his fitness issues again. So look, there's a lot of players in the national team for the reggaeboyz have a lot of fitness issue going into their new season. And look, the Premier League will kickstart next week, and guess what? The championship is probably a little bit over 24 hours from now, where I think it will be Wrexham and Southampton kicking it off, or it will be Birmingham and another team kicking off on Friday night in England as well. So Joel Lati have left out of the Coventry squad because of, you know, fitness issues. You know, so again, fitness issues is all over. That's the blueprint. Yeah, that is the blueprint for our national team. I've heard, you know, my friend Francis have said, look, we don't want to see any more Red Cup. It's a Red Cup thing. No, it's not just a Red Cup. It's a fitness issue with a lot of these players. So again, it's just a bad moment at this time, you know, for the national team, of the players that are not really up to par at this moment. And I can say September will be coming really fast. You know how much a lot of these players are not having the best of pre-season, can really get up to shape where they can actually get to some level of fitness. But you will hope that coming off of a World Cup qualifier, coming off of a Gold Cup, there will be a level of fitness, you know, from the players, you know, coming into the national team, you know. But the fitness issue is a drought in the national team. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. You know, I will leave it here. Ciao, ciao. Bless upon yourself. You know, thanks for passing through again. And now we out. If you like the content, remember, please like, share, comment, and subscribe.